So welcome into Studio B, everybody. So happy that you're here. We're going to do a practice tonight that has kind of been the foundation of my practice this past week. It's one I come to a lot. It holds within it kind of like my top 10 poses. And I often refer to it as like black tie basics. And what I mean by that is it's like when you need to feel your best in the body that you're in, these are the poses that I go to, so that at the end of the practice, like I know I'm gonna feel great no matter how I showed up. So it is the yoga asana version of the little black dress in your closet or your black tie, the thing that you know you can whip out and like feel great in no matter what the occasion. So we're gonna start in hero's pose near the back of our mat today. And if your knees and ankles are happier sitting on a block here, you could always bring yourself that in to resource yourself. And let's just start a little bit of grounding, palms down on the thighs. You can see here pretty clearly from me, we want to make sure the shoulders are not leaning forward. Maybe you need to slide the torso back a little bit so you've got that alignment of shoulders over hips. And then just maybe either settling the eyes on something or letting the eyes close as we take about a minute here to check in with the breath. And as we enter the practice, the question may just be like, how am I showing up? It's like when you step into your closet and you're like, okay, like, what's the body I've got with me today and how can I make it feel its best? And just asking yourself kind of, how am I showing up to practice right now? And noticing if your mind tries to conjure a response to that question, you know, like, oh, you're not really in a great mindset today. Maybe you should have skipped practice, or, oh, this hurts, and perhaps just reminding yourself that there's no right way to show up to practice. But instead that we're just going to work with what's ever here so that we can feel like the best version of ourselves possible on the other side of this practice. On your next inhale, let your chest start to lift, your shoulders drop back a little bit, arching the spine forward, maybe lift the chin slightly, opening the eyes. This is like a seated cow pose. And then round the spine, tailbone tucks, chin towards the chest like a seated cat. Take that twice more, letting the spine ripple forward, heart lift, head starts to drop back slightly, opening up. Exhale, rounding forward like your seated cat. One more time, really articulating each movement of the vertebra. Shoulder blades drop down the back, chin lifts, heart opens. And then letting that movement ripple down the spine as the tailbone tucks, chin to chest. Do that one more time. We're going to add on the arms. So you find that seated upright cow, but lift the arms forward and up so the arms become just like an exclamation point, enhancing the movement. And then let the arms come forward and down as you round. Twice more like that. Inhale, arms come forward and up. Arms are like that exclamation point, really expanding the movement, and forward and down. And last time here, forward and up, heart opening. This time folding into your child's pose, arms come forward, torso over the thighs. Taking this into a vinyasa, inhale, shift forward to a half plank, keeping the knees down. And then we're just going to do a little bit of playful movement this first time. We won't do this the subsequent times, but we will this time. Press into the tops of your feet and hover your knees, maybe just an inch or so, or maybe you straighten the legs, coming into this sort of hybrid plank on the tops of the feet. Feel your tailbone just gently reaching towards the heels, which will invite a sort of lifting in the front of the abdomen. Good. Give yourself one more nice big inhale here. And then as you exhale, really with control, settle the knees back on the mat. You're still in kind of a half plank. Bend the elbows, let them slide down the outer edges of the body, come to the mat. Lifting up to a cobra pose, baby cobra, elbows into the sides of the body. And then pass through all fours as you shift back to child's. We'll take that twice more movement to breath. So inhale, lift the arms up and back. This is kind of like that upright cow pose. Exhale, forward folding into your child's. Inhale, come forward to that half plank. No additional lift here. Exhale, lowering to the mat. Inhale, find your cobra. Exhale, press up and back to child's. One more time, just like that. Inhale, lifting up and open. Exhale, fold you down to your child's. Inhale, you come forward to your half plank, knees stay down. Exhale, elbows skim the sides of the body. Inhale, you lift to your cobra. Stop in all fours as you lift up to all fours. Tuck your toes. We'll find our first downward facing dog as we lift the hips, press the heart back, and find our first Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now let's take a little bit of time here. So lift your head, actually look towards your hands. And for me, it's the pointer finger that's actually pointing more towards the front of my mat. And then imagine that you're gripping a basketball. So with the pads of your fingertips, you just gently hug the mat. Now start to look back towards your toes, press the heart back and lengthen the outer arms. Let the ears rest in between the biceps. Looking at that space in between your big toes, notice if you can see your heels. And if you can, just make them disappear by truly making the feet parallel. And then a little bit differently, micro bend your knees and lift your sitting bones towards the ceiling. And notice how that allows you to access the hamstrings, even with softness in the legs. Take one more breath here. I know those arms are feeling it. We're going to keep feeling it as we shift forward to plank pose for about 30 seconds. So shift forward to a strong plank pose, shoulders over wrists. Keep gripping the mat as if you were gripping that basketball. Just when the tops of the feet were down, gently invite the tailbone to explore navigating towards the heels just slightly, which then invites a lift in the front of the pelvis and the abdomen. 2 more breaths here, soft face, deep breath. And we'll lower the knees down, shift into a 3-breath child's pose. Maybe you need to bring the arms back and roll the wrists if the wrists are feeling it at all. Just 2 more breaths. We do want to keep building heat, but never want to overly strain any one part of the body. If you need to re-extend the arms forward, bring them forward. Shifting forward, we'll return to that downward facing dog, tucking the toes, lifting the hips, and seeing how quickly you can re-find that down dog that we previously took about a minute to really establish. So micro bend the knees, lift the sits bones, ears between the biceps, length through the outer arms. Looking forward, we're going to start to move into our sun salutations. We'll start from right here. Drop the knees to the mat. Move your right thumb to your left thumb. Step your right foot forward. Find your first low lunge. Sweep the arms up. Give yourself 1 breath. We're going to start moving breath to movement. Hands down. Step it back. Downward facing dog. We'll shift forward to plank pose. For these first couple, we'll do knees, chest, and chin. So lower knees. Chest between the thumbs, chin out front, Ashtangasana. Slide to the belly, lift from the back of the heart, find your Cobra Bhujangasana, and then passing through all fours, return to that downward facing dog position 8. Lowering the knees to keep it really soft and compassionate first time, left thumb to right thumb, step that left foot forward, find that low lunge. We'll take the arms up on the inhale. Exhale, hands come down, right foot forward comes to meet the left. Fold in. Circle sweep the arms out, up, back, position 11. Palms together, 12. We'll take that 3 more times. Inhale, lengthen the arms alongside you. Exhale, palms together. Nothing complicated, simple, classic movement. Reach the arms forward, up, and back. Hinging at the waist, folding over the legs 2. Left leg leads, step it back, lower the knee. Inhale, reach the arms up. Keeping it classic, hands down, step it back, down dog. Sometimes you don't need the fancy, you know what works. Knees, chest, and chin, Ashtangasana. Sliding to the belly, lifting from the back of the heart. Black tie basics, downward facing dog. Trusting that these basics are basic for a reason, step the left foot forward, right knee down. Inhale, arms up. They never go out of style and they work every time. Hands down, right foot forward, fold. Arms reaching either out, up, and back or forward, up, and back. Hands together. Twice more. Keep that heat building. Inhale, take your breath in. Exhale, bring it in, position 1. Inhale, forward, up, back bend at the top. Exhale over the legs. Lead with the right knee down. Keep it simple, you know what you're doing. Hands down, downward facing dog. If you want to plank through a chaturanga, take it, or repeat knees, chest, and chin. Totally up to you. Cobra or up dog, down dog. Looking forward, you see where that right foot's going, then you mindfully step it forward, left knee down. Inhale, brings the arms up. Exhale, hands down, left foot forward. Either out, up, or forward, up and back. Close. Just cueing breath. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Inhale, 2. Exhale, 3. Left foot will lead. Left knee down. Inhale. Down dog, 5. Knees, chest, and chin, or plank through a nice integrity-filled chaturanga, cobra or up dog. Down dog, 8. Left foot forward, arms up. Hands down, fold, 10. Reaching forward, up and back, 11. Palms together, 12. Take a moment, lengthen your arms alongside you, close your eyes. Give yourself 5 breaths as a sort of micro meditation. Noticing how is it now? Experimenting with that down regulating breath, giving yourself a little bit more time with the exhale. Coming back to our personal center of balance, which we will tap into as we move into Garudasana, eagle pose. So we'll take the arms wide, bend the knees as if you were coming into chair pose. Take your right arm underneath your left. Option 1, give yourself a hug. Option 2, wrap the forearms, bring the palms together. You could stay here in half Garudasana or pop up onto the right foot, cross the right thigh over the left. You could drop the right toes down as a kickstand or wrap the right foot behind the left calf, finding your full eagle pose. Noticing if the right hip is wanting to draw forward, and gently dial the right hip and right shoulder back. 2. You're going to step back to warrior 2. So you're going to unravel the arms, right leg steps back, arms extend forward, you're in warrior 2. Yes, perfect. So left knee is bent, left arm is forward, warrior 2 pose. Looking over the middle finger of the left hand. So sometimes we come into this pose and a teacher has a particular focus of the day. You do a funky variation of it. And sometimes you're just here for the basic fundamentals because you know they work. And that's what we're here for today. We're gonna take this into warrior three. So look forward, bring your hands into prayer. You're gonna pivot your whole torso towards that front leg. So you're gonna pivot, 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 and hop onto the ball of that right foot. Now, first thing that happens to be is my whole pelvis spills forward. So I'm gonna take the front rim of my pelvis and just lift it up a little bit. Good. Now I'm gonna take my torso, lean forward about 45 degrees, and I'm gonna hop my back foot in about halfway. Pop. Drop my torso parallel to the floor, and then with my left knee still a little bit bent, start to lift my right leg parallel to the floor as well. And then once I get stable, push through the standing left foot and try to straighten my left leg. Press the palms of your hands together to activate your upper back. Tailbone to right heel, just like we did in our plank. Front lift to the pelvis. 2, 1. You're gonna stand it straight up, lifting all the way up. Right foot comes next to the left. Release the arms. Give yourself a breath before we do that on the second side. Start to reach those arms wide. Bend the knees like you're coming into that chair. Left arm underneath right. Option 1, hug. Option 2, wrap the forearms, palms together. You could stop here. Keep going if you'd like by popping onto the left foot, cross the thigh, and decide, do I need a little kickstand here, or do I want a full wrap? And then notice if your body just took a little turn to the right, dial the left side of the body back. Yeah. 2. 1. Big energy release here as you open to warrior 2. Arms out, left leg steps back. So right knee is bent. Arms nice and wide. There you go. Looking over the middle finger of the right hand. So warrior 2, so much of it for me, particularly because I know warrior 3 is coming, is here I'm harnessing energy. I'm like, bring it in, because I'm gonna need it in that warrior 3, which is a really compact, intense pose. So think of harnessing here, one more breath, and then we're gonna start to bring it in. Hands come into heart center. You actually literally start to close the body as you turn the torso forward. Lean in 45 degrees, hop in about halfway. Now drop the torso parallel to the floor, push the palms together. Get that upper back on line. Now lift the left leg parallel to the floor. And then once you're stable, push into the standing leg to find that stability and that double straight capital L with your legs. 2. 1 more big breath in. You're gonna step back to a down dog for a vinyasa. So bring your hands to the mat and step it on back to down dog. We'll move through vinyasa of your choice here. I'm gonna take knees, chest, and chin. Take your back bend. Down dog, 5 breaths. So we're not gonna do the eagle pose again, but we are gonna do the warrior 2 into warrior 3. We're only gonna hold the warrior 2 for a couple breaths, and we're gonna add on a slightly more intense variation of warrior 3. Couple more breaths in down dog. This is like accessorizing your LBD, changing it up a little bit, different set of earrings, different pair of shoes. Look forward. We'll lead with the right. So right foot's gonna step forward, windmill it up to that warrior 2. Just a couple of breaths to kind of be like, okay, I need my energy because this variation of warrior 3 is gonna be pretty intense. And then we're gonna close, left arm is gonna stay straight. You're gonna sweep it forward and imagine holding like a ball of energy in front of you. And then someone takes your fingertips, pulls them forward so that your ears come right in between your biceps. Yeah. Now we're going to take that half step in, just like we did round 1. So pop it in halfway. Right knee is still straight, still bent. Now lift your left leg. Keep reaching those fingertips forward. Now push and straighten your right leg. Hold it for 3. You got it. 2. You're going to take a vinyasa in between. Lower your hands to the mat. You could take a 3-legged vinyasa if you'd like. Hop it back. Vinyasa of your choice. Back bend. Down dog for 5 breaths. Knowing that sometimes we don't need to do the funky arm balances or the inversions or the fancy flows. That the most classic poses can really get us in our body and achieve the results that we're looking for. One more breath here. Left foot is going to lead, so lift the head. Left foot steps forward. I'm just turning around to face you. Warrior 2. Just a couple breaths, because what you're doing here is you're bringing that energy in, harnessing. And then you're going to keep your right arm straight as you kind of sweep it forward, pivoting, and you find that ball of energy. Then someone takes your fingertips and they gently pull them forward until your head is suspended right between your upper arms. Hop the back foot in halfway. Keep your left knee bent. Now lift your right leg parallel to the floor. Strong and straight. As you feel stable, push. Like you're pushing the earth away from you. Stand tall, 3. 2, energy moving in every direction. 1 more breath. Take a vinyasa, hands down. It could be 3-legged if you'd like. Five breaths, down dog. We've hit warrior 2, we've hit warrior 3. Which one are we missing? My favorite, not warrior 1. So we're gonna look forward, move that right thumb in towards the left thumb. That space you just created, that's where your right foot's going. Step it forward. We're gonna take a pretty wide warrior 1. So go ahead and plant your left heel and then circle sweep those arms out and up, finding Virabhadrasana 1. I have a little bit of stuff going on my low back. So I'm gonna take a warrior 1.5 because my low back is much happier there. So if you'd like to come with me, by all means, open it up. Otherwise, you can keep it more square. Nice big broad stance. Now we're gonna take this to the floor for side plank. So your left hand is gonna be your foundation. Your left hand is gonna come to the floor. You're gonna flip onto the pinky side edge of your left foot. Pop. And then you could keep your right foot down, just wiggle it back a little bit, and keep your right foot down as support. Or step your right foot back, right on top of your left. Side plank. Definitely one of my top 10 favorite basic yoga poses. So many benefits. Wicked hard, really good for you. 1 more breath. Take your right forearm, bring it down to the mat. Boom. Pivot onto your toes, left forearm, forearm plank. And then to make it extra fun, because forearm plank is not fun enough on its own, wiggle your toes back to make it longer and harder. And then push the mat away through your forearms. Smile and take 2 breaths. 1 more big breath here. This one's definitely going to get us the results we want. Come into dolphin. Lift the hips, walk the feet forward. Boom, boom, boom. Bend your knees pretty big. Let the belly rest on the thighs. Take 3 breaths. Feel that nice, glorious opening in the upper chest. I'm naturally kind of swaying my tailbone a little bit here. And then we're going to lower the knees to the mat. Press into the palms to lift the forearms. And come into pigeon pose. Right knee to right wrist. Spin that right foot forward. Slide that left leg back. Nice, beautiful Kapotasana. Walk those hands in. Let's take the advantage of the back bend here. By pressing into the fingertips, slide the shoulders back. Lift the head. Couple breaths. If you want chest expansion, who am I to deny you? You're welcome to take it if you like. And then we'll fold forward about, I'm going to give you a solid 7 breaths here. Kapotasana, folding forward. So almost a minute to just chill. The thing about black tie basics is they accomplish the goal every single time. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. These basics are postures you can return to really throughout your lifetime if you know how to modify them in a healthy way. To keep your body in a place where it is able to move the way your body was meant to move, but also invites this deep connection between breath, mind, and body. We'll start to walk the hands up and in. And you're going to come into Gomukhasana, cow face pose from here. So the right leg is probably about where it needs to be. The left leg's going to swing around. I'm going to face you. So you're going to swing your left leg around, and I'm just turning to face you as you stack left knee over right. This is another place where having a block can come in handy, or a blanket. And then we're going to take an added element of a twist here. So left knee should be on top, which means left fingertips are going to come out to the side. Right hand is going to come behind the head. And then we're going to start to walk the left fingertips away from us. I can already feel my right hip. It's like, and keep leaning. Yeah. And then think of the spine, particularly the side body, almost like a smiley face, and try to create that arc in the right side body. So really exaggerate whatever mobility you have through the intercostals, the ribs, and the obliques. Notice if your teeth are pushing together. And then slowly let the breath pick you up. We'll forward fold for just about 3 to 4 breaths. So forward folding may be really microscopic for you, totally fine. Or you might have a little bit more range of motion here. And then we'll take an opportunity for a vinyasa here. So we'll lift the torso. Left leg's going to go right back where it came from, swinging all the way around to the back of the mat. Step back to your downward facing dog. You could chill here or take that vinyasa opportunity. And then we'll take that whole sequence that began with that really broad warrior one on the second side. So lifting the head, left thumb moves towards the right thumb, and we step the left foot forward. This is a pretty wide warrior one as we plant the right heel and circle sweep the arms out and up. Now I know classically, I'm just turning around so I can still interface with you. Every teacher you go is going to be like, square your hips, square your shoulders. Not me. So if you want to open it up, do so. Really feeling that lift in the front of the pelvis, anchoring in that back leg. One more breath. And then we'll take it to the side plank. So the right hand comes to the floor. That is now one of your primary foundations. Flip to the pinky side edge of the right foot. You could take a supported plank by keeping the left foot down or stack left foot on right. 3 nice full breaths here. Looking for a sense of lift and buoyancy on that right underside of the body. And then a really controlled transition to forearm plank. Left forearm comes down, rotating to the balls of the feet. Right forearm joins. And then we added that extra element of humorous fun by wiggling the toes back to make it harder than necessary. I'm just noticing how the weight of the body wants to drop in and sort of sag, and we're really resisting that for one more breath. And then we walked the feet in, the hips up, finding our dolphin pose. We bent the knees really intentionally here so that the hamstrings weren't even an issue. And maybe there was some really intuitive movement. For me, it just feels really good to kind of wag my tail a little bit here. Really opening up the underside of the arm, that tricep region, all through the lats. And then letting the knees gently find their way to the mat. And then just simultaneously pushing into the palms to find all fours. Pigeon pose, left knee forward, left ankle spins around, and then that right leg just kind of slides on back. Take a couple breaths. Find your back bend. And then go ahead and come forward, knowing we're going to have plenty of time here in this pigeon pose. There are some times in your life where you feel really inspired and invigorated by doing a new pose, discovering a new ability, a new way to link different shapes together. Keeps it fresh, creative, innovative. And all of that is wonderful and necessary. And there are some times where you just need to come home to something that you don't have to think about, that you know is going to get you where you want to go. A sense of just trust in the basics. We'll start to walk the hands up and in. We are going to come into that Gomukhasana on the second side. So right leg swings all the way around, right knee over left. Really stacking the joints here. And then again, right knee top. So right fingertips out to the side, left hand behind the head. And then we start to explore that lateral movement, which really gets into this outer glute medius pretty quickly. And then I almost push into my right hand just a little bit to kind of fan out the lateral seam of my body. And we'll come all the way up. We'll make our way onto our backs for our final couple of poses. So we'll come onto our backs and set up for bridge pose. So feet come in, heels towards the glutes. I like to take my feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Palms down alongside you. Give yourself a full breath in. And then as you push down into your feet, start to roll up, finding your bridge pose, Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. And we're gonna take the arms up and overhead here. So as you inhale, lift your arms up towards the ceiling, and as you exhale, the backs of the hands find the floor overhead. And just continue to anchor down into the feet, drawing the knees forward, and being aware of even where your physical body ends, your energy body continues. So there's an energy between the inner thighs that's not necessarily physical, but is still really a part of you. And just feeling the energy of the inner legs interact with each other. And really tune into your sense of hearing here, because we're going to inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, bring them back alongside you. And then bend your elbows and bring your hands kind of underneath your sacrum. So you're supporting, the heel of your hand is right at the ridge of where your buttocks and spine meet. And then we're going to start to move into shoulder stand from here. So you'll transition the weight of the pelvis into the hands and extend your dominant leg up to the ceiling, followed by the second. And then once you get the legs up, you'll be able to move the hands higher up the spine. And it's not really advised to talk in this asana. So we'll be here about 7 more breaths in silence. To come out, allow the knees to bend towards the nose. Release the hands to the mat and use your hands like brakes to roll 1 vertebra at a time back onto the mat. And then when you arrive, use the core to gently lower the legs. As the heels land, push into the elbows to lift the heart and release the head back in Matsyasana, fish pose. Pushing into the elbows, lift the head. Slowly roll back onto your spine. Draw your knees in towards your chest. And we'll set up for our final asana of a simple spinal twist. So continue hugging in your right knee. Extend your left leg forward. Just let it rest on the mat. Jatara Parivartanasana, left hand to right knee. Draw the right knee across the body, spinal twist. Right arm can just elongate behind you. And sometimes we rotate the head out of habit. If it feels good, do it. But sometimes I do it without thinking, and it can feel just as good to just keep looking up at the ceiling. So just noticing any habitual patterns there. Really letting the belly move with the breath here. Starting to really slow down, really nurturing breath. No restriction necessary. And then as you untwist the spine, you may just pause for a breath or two in Shavasana. I often just find my body needs a moment in neutral before it goes the other way. And then you can just keep your right leg extended. It's the left knee that will draw in. You may just enjoy giving yourself a little hug with the knee in against the abdomen. And then just guiding it across the body, spinal twist. One of the things I enjoy about a back to basics practice as well is it's such an invitation for me to notice what I do habitually. The things that I do in my practice in certain poses that over time I have adopted without thinking. That when I have a practice that's all about the basics, it really invites a sense of questioning around some of these things of like, why do I do it that way? Does that really work best for me? Just really embracing a continual curiosity with ourselves. And then if the body needs anything else, give yourself a few moments to take that. We're coming into Shavasana. So I'm going to sit up for Shavasana so that I can guide you really intentionally. You'll stay on your back. You're welcome to dim the lights, cover yourself with a blanket, use any props available to get super comfortable. And then mentally begin to scan the feet, the calves, the knees and the thighs, and release any of the remaining tension there. Mentally scan the buttocks and the pelvis, the abdomen and the chest, softening any of the tension there. Scanning the hands and the forearms, the elbows and the upper arms. Releasing any of the tension remaining there. And finally swirling around the shoulders, the neck. All of those facial muscles and the brain. Softening any of the tension remaining there. Noticing that when you give yourself the gift of relaxing the body, the breath is still there. And so you become a witness to your breath. You may notice thoughts in the mind, allowing them to float past like clouds in front of a blue sky. As you become a witness to your mind, and finally you become aware of a peaceful consciousness, a reminder that you are not your physical body and you are not the thoughts in your mind, but rather that you are a pure and peaceful awareness. without moving your body. Allow the next couple of breaths to be a bit more invigorating and conscious. And then as that breath deepens, allow very subtle movement to enter the fingers and toes, wrists, ankles. Sometimes I like a long body stretch, reaching the arms overhead. And then in your own way and in your own time, returning to a comfortable seat. Bringing the palms of the hands together near the heart center. Allowing your chin just to gently drop in a gesture of humble gratitude that your body really showed up for you today. Hopefully your mind did too. So grateful for this practice, for the teachers that allow me to show up the way that I show up, and guidance to you. Jai Shri Sakuru Maharaj Ki.